Hey folks, how you been? Laducium here, playing some more Hearthstone, and a new patch has come down the pipeline. Some changes have been made, mostly just to 2 cards, and they're pretty crazy changes too. So the first change is Starving Buzzard. If I can type here. No, I can't. Starving Buzzard. So it's been changed from a 3-mana, not a 3-mana, from a 2-mana 2/1 card to a 5-mana 3/2 card. And that's a pretty crazy change if you ask me. So it used to be that turn 5 you could play Starving Buzzard, Unleash the Hounds, and if your opponent had a bunch of creatures, you could get a bunch of card draw to continue kind of keeping up pressure as a hunter. Now, instead of a turn 5 play, this is a turn 8 play for a hunter, which seems really devastating and, frankly, kind of impossible to work with. So I think hunters aren't really going to be that viable for ranked play, for later ranked play. Maybe still viable in Arena, because Arena is kind of, you never know what you can get, so you wouldn't necessarily count on this card for Arena victories, but otherwise, hunters are going to suck, because this was kind of a major strategy. So it's interesting. I mean, my contention with this change is that it's still a 3/2, which means it's still really easily killed. So it's not easily killed by things like mage ability, hero ability, or the rogue's hero ability, or the druid's hero ability, but it is still easily killed by anything that does 2 damage. Smite, slam if the warrior has shield up first. There's just tons and tons of stuff that can easily do 2 damage to a creature and wipe it off the board. So seems kind of like not the best change. For 5 mana, at least change it to like a 3/3. Make it so it's out of range of a ton of spells that do 2 damage. Rogues have backstab for just 0 mana cost and 2 damage. Easily kills something like this. If you made it a 3/3, this would at least live and would allow you to play Unleash the Hounds on the following turn. So you could at least get a turn 6 Unleash the Hounds going. So that's my only problem with that, and we'll see how this changes the game for hunters, but it'll be interesting. But I do think hunters are going to drop out from late game play. Now, the other change, which kind of pisses me off, was Leroy Jenkins. And it only pisses me off, and I can't spell, so let's just agree to that. Why don't we just go to crafting mode, and it's now 5 mana. And it is somewhere here. So Leroy Jenkins, and the only reason I'm pissed off is because a couple of weeks ago I had crafted this card for pretty much all my dust, and then it goes and gets changed. So that'll teach me, but I disenchanted it because I think it's not going to be as viable. So I'd rather look into other cards, potentially Ragnaros, or maybe get a couple of giants and try to build a handlock deck. The other possibility would be a specific hero legendary. There's some good ones. Prophet Velen could be fun. Tyrion would be a great card to have. This could be fun. Archmage Antiodytus. King Crush is not good, because as we've mentioned, hunters are kind of going to suffer. The other possibility, which could be fun, is getting something like Black Knight, wherever that is. I think it's 6 mana, which is really useful because a lot of decks have taunt, and a lot of decks depend on taunt to keep away rush. So Black Knight in something like, you can't have a rush down deck with a hunter anymore, probably because you don't have the card draw, but a rush down deck with some other class, maybe a mage, something along those lines, and Black Knight could get rid of any taunt that might be out there. So Black Knight could be a very useful card, and that might be something that I craft, or I might just hold on to the dust and kind of see what happens when everything settles down. So that's the changes that have been happening over this last week, and it's interesting. So we'll see how all of this develops as people adjust to the new metagame. Meanwhile, I have some daily quests, so let's do that. I'm going to play my zoo deck, but the Zookeeper deck, my Shaman. Should still be the same old Shaman deck. I haven't really made any adjustments to it. Might have to make some adjustments as we go. We'll see. I always, after I haven't played for a few weeks, and it's been a few weeks since I last played, I always try to do a game, and then if it looks like after 3 or 4 games I'm getting my ass kicked too much, I'll jump in and make some adjustments. So Warlock is good because this deck is half decent against Warlocks. It could be a handlock. It could be a zoo deck. I'm going to assume that at rank 16 it's a zoo deck, so I'm going to get rid of Hex. That could be a mistake, of course. We'll keep Shield Bearer, keep Earth Shock. And I forget, I must have made some adjustments because I have Harvest Golem in here. So we'll see what my opponent does. Unfortunately, my opponent has a coin, which means he gets to do more stuff. I could have pulled out... Okay, so it is most likely a zoo deck. Is Earth Shock worth getting rid of this and not taking damage? Kind of. So I avoid 2 damage and I just get rid of this right now, and I'll throw this out there. So Zoolock, not great, but I have cards to deal with it. Next turn I can Harvest Golem. If it's a handlock, I don't think it's a handlock because he would be keeping cards in his hand. So, oh, did I make adjustments? I might have made adjustments to either work. So I could reincarnate on Harvest Golem, but I think I'll keep reincarnated around Sylvanas. So I think I made adjustments to this deck so that I could do things like reincarnate on stuff that has Death Rattle. Interesting. Alright, that's fine. We'll see how it goes. I might have to adjust this back a little bit eventually. For now, let's have some fun. And this will work nicely because it will just heal everything back up. I could have always reincarnated. I could have reincarnated on Harvest Golem. I don't know why I said always. I could reincarnate Harvest Golem, get the Death Rattle from that, and get an extra Golem. But it doesn't seem worth it. Now when I can get more cards from my opponent using Sylvanas. So that healing totem is really nice. It makes getting past what I have on the board much more difficult. Now, my opponent could have a Hellfire, which would wipe the board, deals 3 damage to everything. But so far it doesn't look like it. He is... Oh, never mind. Well, there you go. He did have a Hellfire. Son of a bitch. And he's going to have that, Mortal Coil. You get card draw. You know, I'm still not convinced that's not a handlock. But what can you do? I'm going to save the Flame Tongue Totem for now because I don't know what he's going to play. Instead, I'm going to play this because it's about the only thing I could do while summoning my own totem. Next turn, I could either Sylvanas or Fire Elemental. So, of course, my opponent's going to beat me on cards. My opponent will always beat me on cards. That's interesting. Emperor or Cobra. So the nice solution to this, of course, is Fire Elemental, and we deal 3 damage, and boom, and then we hit our opponent for 2 damage. And I also have a 6/5 on the board. I could Feral Spirits on the following turn, buff this guy up to a 3/5, that would be nice. Flame Tongue Totem would be nice as well. A lot of possibilities there. Mogasha Warden is slightly annoying, but we can kill that really easily. So we'll do that. Why not? So we'll put Flame Tongue Totem out here. We'll hit this with that to kill it. I'm thinking we kill this with that. I mean, that might have been the wrong move. I could have played Feral Spirits to have it survive. Screw it. Hate to say it, but YOLO. We're just gonna hit him in the face. I think I messed that up. I was not thinking, talking, not paying attention, and I probably could have done better. But if I just focus on dealing damage, hopefully he can't clear this out, and maybe he doesn't have more taunts, and I can just kill him in a turn or two. Because next turn I have almost lethal. I have 8 to 10 plus 4 from my weapon, making for 14 damage. Which also restricts his life tap. So if he tries to life tap right now, he's pretty much dead. As long as he doesn't clear my board, of course. So he's thinking. He knows that I have at least 14 damage. He should be able to see that. So, yeah, he's thinking about it. If he does put out a giant, the nice thing is, well, maybe not on the next turn, but eventually I can Sylvanas and reincarnate and take a giant, if that's the plan. But I'm kind of confused about what kind of deck this is, because it's not the standard zoo deck, and it's not exactly a handlock either. Because normally he would be keeping cards to play something like a Twilight Drake, or would have played a Sea Giant or Mountain Giant by now, or even a Molten Giant. So, looks like he's just running out of time. Unless this is just a random Warlock deck, which is very possible. I'm just so not used to seeing the meta decks that you would expect. Another Hellfire, wonderful. Alright, that stinks, knocks that down to 6. And he plays an Imp Master. This is kind of a standard deck. And that's fine with me. We could do Lightning Storm to wipe out most of the board. That'll wipe out most of my mana. But you know what? Nah. We'll do Feral Spirits. We'll play this to see if we get anything. Another Taunt, which is not bad. Not great, but not bad. And then we'll just do a couple of hits like that. And my weapon should be able to kill my opponent. He can't life tap anymore or else he dies. So, we'll see what he does. Another Mortal Coil can take out my Fire Elemental. But I still have the damage. And Lightning Storm will be nice to clear out any low-level taunts at least. Is that a Siphon Soul? Interesting. Okay, so he gets life out of it. What are you going to do to give power overwhelming? Nice. Alright, and then you give up. Well played. That was an interesting deck, and I don't know what achievement I got there. Oh, actually I have no idea what I got. What did I get? I got something. Whatever. Good enough. Let's keep going. So I'm gonna change this deck eventually. Right now, just gonna have some fun, play with what I have, but eventually I think I'll change back to what I had earlier. Part of the plan of putting Reincarnate in there was to have multiple Leroy Jenkins that I could play off of. So now we're playing a Hunter. So let's see how this goes, because I'm really interested. And this is pretty good start. I do say so. So I'm definitely going to keep the Mana Tide Totem. I'm really interested in what the Hunter is going to be able to do now with the nerf to the Starving Buzzard. This will make for some interesting gameplay. It's not to say the Hunter's out completely. There's still ways for the Hunter to draw cards. And I'm not going to put the Shield Bearer out until I have to. I mean, obviously the standard card draw through gnomes and such can be used. Interesting. I don't want to sacrifice a Loot Hoarder. Let's put out a Healing Totem. So that way when I put out my Shield Bearer, can't get by. Healing Totem in the way. Okay, good. So he doesn't try to hit the thing. Now we'll throw out our Loot Hoarder. And we're good. We are good. Yeah. So this can at least act as nice defense for a while. Can absorb a bit of damage. I could Earth Shock that if I really want to. I don't know if I really want to. Animal Companion. Okay. I might want to Earth Shock this potentially. We'll see if I get the right totem. Or I could Harvest Golem and just run stuff into that. If I got a Storm Totem, that would work. Lightning Storm might work too. I guess Earth Shock for one and hope Lightning Storm kills it. Do I want to do that? Let's Lightning Storm first, and then I'll just run this into it and save Earth Shock. So I'll have some spiders, but that's fine, because they won't be able to kill that. Not this turn, at least. Perfect. Got me a card, got rid of his Animal Companion, got rid of his boar. I think that worked out well. Could have Earth Shocked the spider to prevent the 2/1/1s, but they're not even beasts, so I'm not too worried because he can't buff them up like he would if they were beasts. Can't do a Houndmaster. Tundra Rhino, okay. That seems like something that I should be getting rid of. The question is, do I want to Hex it or do I want to Earth Shock it? I think Earth Shock would be the better move. And then we'll see if we can get another card. The reason why I saved the Hex is because if he plays something like Savannah Highmane, I'd rather use the Hex for that. And right now that's only a 2/4. The most important thing is he can't play a beast and try to rush me down with it. So I think I will save it. So that's slightly annoying, the Timberwolf, of course. The good news is he's going to take out my totems instead of killing me. And then he's going to kill that, which is all fine. Do a bunch of damage, which I'll admit is annoying. I don't like. But what I'm going to do is play the Unbound Elemental and then play another Lightning Storm, gets rid of most everything. And then I figure I'll sacrifice this, kill the Rhino, get a card. Now we're tied for cards, except I have a 3/5 on the board. I need to start doing damage of my own, of course. But we're okay. I can always get more cards with a Manatide Totem, at least one more card. My accent is annoying. We'll Hex. We'll Hex that thing. Goodbye. And we'll summon ourselves a totem. Because if not just this, because it's a 2/8, it would be able to kill this, plus would be able to kill things like my Sylvanas. Of course, I could have played Sylvanas, let it kill it, and then get my axe up, but then it would have taken a bunch of damage and stuff. So, I don't know. Seemed like better choice at the moment. Hunter's Mark. That stinks. Lightning Bolt. I can't quite kill that unless I didn't get the right totem. So what we'll do is play Sylvanas. Do I want to play Sylvanas? I could play Harvest Golem and Unbound Elemental. You won't be able to quite kill them. At least not easily. So I think I'll go for getting more cards out on the table, especially since I can heal them. Hunters don't normally have silence unless they carry an Iron Beak Owl, so or they can just carry this silence, whatever, the 4/3 silence card, Spellbreaker. But generally they don't have silence aside from that, so I shouldn't be worried too much about Sylvanas getting silenced. He could always do Hunter's Mark or something, but then I get that creature. Said he's going to kill my Healing Totem. Okay, smart. Multi-shot. I'll injure both, still get me my golem. And he's going to kill one critter for that. Alright, well he's running out of cards too, which is good. I like to see that. Now, Deathlord is pretty decent. What I'm thinking we do is we lightning bolt this and run that into it to kill it, play the Deathlord, and then play the Mana Tide Totem. I don't want him to get charged. Charged beasts would be very bad for myself and my reputation. And then we'll also summon our own totem. Good. And we can start getting cards. So hopefully this can stay alive for a while. If the Deathlord can live, I can get lots and lots of cards. That is my hope and strategy. We'll see if it works. And I need to start doing damage to my opponent, because so far I've yet to damage him at all. He's been able to control the board pretty well. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Multi-shot sucks. At least that's his last multi-shot. Alright, well, I guess we'll play Sylvanas. We'll play Feral Spirits to get more taunts out. And we'll start doing damage. Because I have nothing better to do. I'm not happy I lost the Mana Tide Totem. But don't have any more multi-shots. So what else? What other kind of control do you have? Hunter's Mark. Okay, slightly annoying. Because he's going to get a creature for this. But it's a Stone Tusk Boar. I can live with that. Okay. And this is great because it sets the Tiger up. It's a 5/3 now for my Fire Elemental, which I was kind of hoping would happen. I should have explained that earlier, but this was actually somewhat planned, somewhat deliberate, and now we're doing good. We have lots of stuff on the board, a lot of damage potential. We've taken quite a bit of damage ourselves, but I still feel pretty comfortable with this. How are we doing for card draw? About tied. So there's the horrible Starving Buzzard, and does he have Unleash the Hounds? No, but he does have a Scavenging Hyena, which of course will allow him to scavenge things with his Hyena. I'm going to Doomhammer, I'm going to Earth Elemental. I'm going to kill the Scavenging Hyena because I don't think I should allow that to live, and then we're just going to do direct damage to our opponent. Get him down to 6, and I don't think there's any way for him to get past the taunts that I have, so I'm pretty confident that I'm going to win on the following turn, because I have a ton of damage. Even if he gets something like Unleash the Hounds, I still have too many taunts out there. Another Starving Buzzard. Oh, jeez. Nice. And that's well played. So he's got 0 mana. There's nothing he can do. He can Hunter's Mark. So we'll just finish this off with our Earth Elemental and kill him. And that should be that. So, yeah, Hunter, not as viable. I'm surprised he kept the Starving Buzzards in his deck. It could potentially be that he wasn't aware of the change. Maybe he didn't pay attention, or he forgot he had him in his deck. Or maybe he was just testing him out. But it seems like for 5 mana, it's just not worth it. Now, let's do one more game. See who we get. We get a Mage. Lit Match, the Mage. This could be interesting. Let's do it. Hex, Earthshock, no. Doomhammer, no. Do most of this. I'll keep Earthshock. Everything else goes back. Shield Bearer is good. Earthshock's just too good not to keep. I don't like Earth Elemental against stuff like mages or shamans or anybody else that can kill it really easily or polymorph it or Shadow Word Death on it. Basically, it's 5 mana, which is not bad, but an overload of 3 is a huge price to pay. Alright, so my opponent starts with mirror images, which is kind of good, actually. I could put out a shield bearer, but I don't see a point, so we're not going to do anything. We'll just pass our turn. Excuse me. I try to cough away from the mic whenever possible. Sometimes it's not easily possible. Do I put out a shield bearer here? Might be worthwhile. Earth Shock won't help me, and because of the mirror images, unfortunately, there's not much I can do. If I Mana Tide Totem, he'll kill it on the next turn, so I'm thinking shield bearer. Now I could coin. I could have put out the Unbound Elemental and see if he would run the Acidic Swamp Ooze into it. Maybe we'll save that for next turn, because maybe I'll have a Lightning Bolt or something to play with my Unbound Elemental, then I can coin into that. So we'll just lose the shield bearer. It's fine. Yeah, he'll use his hero ability in the Swamp Ooze, and I'm okay with that. It saves me some damage. Deathlord. Pretty good. He might polymorph it. He might use Fireball on it. So it could turn out poorly for me if he gets something like a Ragnaros, because then I'm pretty much dead. I'd be okay with the polymorph, actually. Fireball, I'm somewhat okay with. He's still trading 2 cards for that, and he gets Ethereal Arcanist, which means he doesn't get the secret from it, which is all good with me. Do I want to coin Lothab? That doesn't seem like the worst idea in the world. Doesn't seem like the best necessarily. But it gets me a card out there, and it's a card that he can't kill with spells. Not easily. So now all of his spells cost 5 more mana for this next turn. So this can live. I can start clearing out these mirror images, and maybe I can get an Earth Elemental out on the following turn after that. That is a perfect target for Earth Shock right there. But I think, do I want to Earth Shock that on this turn? If I Earth Shock that, he'll probably run these 2 to kill Lothab, which is not a terrible thing to have happen. Yeah. He might just hit me for 5. Oops, what am I doing? Earth Rockbiter weapon. Alternatively, I could put out the Earth Elemental and hope he doesn't have a way of killing it. He can still enrage that. The problem if I put out the Earth Elemental and he can polymorph it or kill it, I will take a bunch of damage because he'll be able to enrage that. Do I want to take that chance? Let's do it. Let's take the chance. Yep, I was afraid of that. Well, that sucks, but at least I can kill that with Earth Shock, so it's not great, but we can just do that. We can do that, and we can put out a totem, see what we get. It'll be useful. It's not very useful, I'll be honest. Alright. Well, that's one polymorph out of the way. Magus, man. So annoying. I'm thinking I play both Mana Tide Totems and see what I can get. Now that he played that, I shouldn't play both Mana Tide Totems because one of them might be... Just thinking, do I want to risk that he has Mirror Entity? I don't know. Oh, that's so shitty. Alright, that could be a counterspell. So first things first, we're going to do this. It's not a counterspell. Got it. Then we're going to play Feral Spirits. And we're going to play Mana Tide Totem and hope for some really good card draw because this thing can spiral out of control. I need Hex, I need Lightning Bolts, I need something that will prevent that from spiraling out of control. So hopefully this all doesn't die till Flame Strike on the next turn. If it does, I'm dead, but no, he doesn't have flame strike, so that's good. More mirror images, of course, is very annoying. And I need more. Don't kill it. No, no, no! That's such bullshit. RNG, you're screwing me over royally. Lightning Storm is a good start. Let's see if we can get a... Nope, not the totem I wanted still. Sometimes they can't be helped. So that'll help move things along. If it was a storm totem, this would have been more hurt. So I need more cards. Loot Hoarder is going to help. Mana Tide Totem again. Ah, more taunts. Now it's 9-4. Of course, that doesn't help. I think I gotta do this and see if I can get another taunt. I did. Not exactly the taunt I might have needed, but still. Still, I'm gonna get killed by this because I need a hex. And I've got a lot of cards to go. Hit his cards. Hit his cards. Seriously? I'm gonna hit everything but his cards. Reincarnate. You know, I could reincarnate that thing, and that might be worth it. Still gonna take a lot of damage this turn. Way too much damage this turn. No. He's toying with me, which, frankly, at this point, I'm not sure what I can do. Storm... Oh, come on. Alright, well... What can I do? That... Yeah, I can buff this guy up more with Stormforge Axe, but I'm gonna die next turn. I didn't get the card... or cards that I really needed, unfortunately, which would have been something along the lines of a... And I got the lightning bolts too late. And I bet that secret's like an ice block or something, but I can't get to my opponent. There's the hex. Too little, too late there, sir. I'm gonna be dead, basically, if he attacks me directly. So that stinks. I shouldn't have sent those hexes back in the beginning. But you never know. Especially when just card draw doesn't work out for me. And I got really unlucky with some of the stuff like that RNG with the magic missiles there. So I gotta play one more. Come on. Can't leave it at that. But yeah, RNG really screwed me over. That was kind of annoying. Both from the magic missiles and from the Mad Bomber. I got doubly screwed over. Alright. Yeah, I'll keep this. Unbound Elemental Lightning Bolt. Decent combination. Earth Shock's always good. So. Opponent mulligans 2 cards, which doesn't mean anything. Another Lightning Bolt, of course. Excuse me. Spent all day talking to people at work. Next thing you know, I'm hacking and coughing at night. So my opponent decides to play Wild Growth turn 1, which is not a bad idea. I could play Loot Hoarder. My opponent would probably kill it using his hero ability. It's still not a bad idea to do, but instead I used my totem and I got a Stone Cloud totem, which is actually decent because my opponent won't be able to get by it with his hero ability. So I could Loot Hoarder next turn if I wanted to, or I can Unbound Elemental. In fact, what I'll do is Unbound Elemental because I just got Feral Spirits, which means the following turn I could use Feral Spirits, keep the Unbound Elemental alive behind the Feral Spirits, and hopefully do damage to my opponent. Now, he might have a Silence, was a Druid of the Grove or whatever that one is, that will either do 2 damage to a minion or silence. So he can do that, and then my Unbound Elementals just becomes a 2/4, which kind of stinks. But if he doesn't have that, Keeper of the Grove, there it is, yep. Afraid of that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play our other Unbound Elemental. Then we'll Lightning Bolt this thing. Buffs up this. And then we'll just run the Silenced Elemental into it to kill it. So that works to some degree. Do you have another Silence? Potentially. 5 mana. Druids can do a lot with 5 mana. Another Keeper of the Grove. I was afraid of that. Well, better now than later. So what do I want to do? I could use another Lightning Bolt and just kind of do that again, which I'm thinking is not the worst thing in the world. Just to keep that from being problematic. I was really hoping for a Healing Totem. Don't get it. Instead I get a Wrath of Air Totem, finally. Could have used that in the game with the Mage, but no. And that's okay, because a swipe won't clear my board. So I'm good for now. I have 4 damage out on the board, potentially. And we'll see what next turn brings. So that's 2 silences down, I'm glad. Because I still have things like Cairn and Sylvanas in this deck. So he uses hero ability. He's probably going to kill my Stoneclaw Totem. What else are you going to do for 4 mana? Wrath. For 3 or for 1? For 3. So he kills one of my silenced 2/2s. I'm okay with that. Let's throw out our Harvest Golem, and I'll also summon a Totem. Another Taunt. Not exactly what I wanted, but I'll work with it. Not against it, per se. Just not thrilled by it, that's all. I want a Healing Totem. Damn it. And my opponent has 6 cards, 7 mana. 2 Feral Spirits, that's nice, even though I don't have any more Unbound Elementals. If I get Resurrection, or Reincarnate, whichever one that is, but if I get that card, I'm probably going to use it on the Unbound Elemental. I'd be okay with that. This is almost worth silencing. Dealing 2 damage to it. Karen's good. Let's see if we get a Healing Totem this time. We do. Hooray. I think I will silence this for 2 damage. Making it a 4/4. We'll attack. We'll throw out our Loot Hoarder just because. And we'll heal. So I'll see if he has a swipe. He might. But other than that, we're doing okay. We just don't have a lot of damage on the board, which could be problematic because a Druid has things like Starfall, which is AoE, and other forms of doing AoE damage, such as summoning a bunch of Treants and then giving them Rage or whatever it's called. Savage Rage, I forget the card names quite often. I know the cards, I just don't know the names. But anyways, we'll see if we can get an interesting card from our Loot Hoarder. Then we always have Cairn as a backup. That's annoying, of course. This is where a Black Knight would come in really handy. So as I was saying earlier, a Black Knight might be something that I want to get. I'm gonna kill my loot hoarder. It's okay. So we get a Death Lord and a Hex. Hex works. I'll use a Hex on this, and I don't have to worry about the Divine Shield. Kill that with that. Attack. Summon ourselves something, another taunt. And I could Feral Spirits this turn, and I would still have enough for Karen on the next turn. Assuming that 2, 3, 4, 5, that I have the room to play it. Because with the Feral Spirits right now, my board is going to be completely full. So, there. But anyways, yeah, Black Knight would have been useful in that situation if I didn't get the Hex. So he's going to swipe now. Deals 1 damage to everything. I'm okay with that. He's going to use his hero ability, kill one of these, and then use this to kill the other. Which is all well and good. Another swipe. Wow. Alright. Fair enough. He really wanted to get rid of my board. And that's why I didn't play the Death Lord. Because had I played the Death Lord, he would have used both swipes to kill that. So we'll sacrifice our golem to wipe that off the board. We still get another 2-1 golem on the board. Now I'll play Cairn and feel pretty good about it. Then play the Shield Bearer. I don't see a need for it right now. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have something like an Ironbark Protector. But we'll see. In which case I would really need another Hex. I really want my mana totems. Now that both swipes are off the board. But what else? What else do you have? Reincarnate would be great at this point because I would use it on my Karen, of course. And he's going to use Starfall, which is going to deal 5 damage. Still gets me a Bane. So when Karen dies, I get a Bane Bloodhoof, which is a 4/5. But obviously I can't use my Reincarnate. And he's going to play Lothab, which makes my spells cost 5 more. So Feral Spirits this turn, unfortunately, is going to cost 5 more than it would otherwise. Which is why we'll just use Shield Bearer, summon a Totem. See what we get. Nothing good. And you know what? Even for the cost of 5, I'll buff this guy up to 5/1, trade it for Lothab. Using my Rockbiter weapon. So that works. Now, I'm avoiding the Death Lord if I can. Only because I don't want to give my opponent a decent creature, especially a druid, especially if he's a ramp-up druid. Now he's probably gonna draw cards. Okay. He had a choice between drawing 2 cards or restoring 5 health. I kind of thought he might go for the health, but nope, he went for the card draw. That's a-okay with me. Now that's annoying, because I won't be able to kill that this turn. So let's think about this. Of course I can Lightning Storm and then run everything I have into it. Is it worth it? We'll find out. Healing Totem. I have no other way of getting past it and doing damage to my opponent. So I could try to just wear him down, but I think... You know what? Screw it. If I hold off a turn, it just gives him better ability to clear out what I have on the board, though. So... But I hate to use Lightning Storm so easily. So we'll play the Feral Spirits. I'm going to actually not run this in there because I want the totem here so I have a better chance of drawing a Wrath of Air totem. Because you can only draw totems that you don't have. So right now I have 2 totems on the board. I still have the Stoneclaw and the Wrath of Air. So I have a 50-50 shot of drawing the Wrath of Air as long as these 2 totems are alive. And that's what I'm going to hope for. He's going to play Fugan, so that's interesting. He must have a Fugan Stalag thing to try to draw Thaddeus, I imagine. Do you have Stalag now? Which sucks, because I might accidentally get him Thaddeus. And then he puts out another taunt. Well, I'm kind of glad I held off on the Lightning Storm. Now. Okay, that's good. So we get a Flame Tongue Totem. So let's see if we get Wrath of Air. So now we can Lightning Storm. And hopefully deal a bunch of damage. Good. 3, 4. So here's what I'm thinking. Totems are relatively expendable, so we'll put the Flame Tongue Totem out here. This becomes 3, and we run that into that and kill it. I don't really want to lose Cairn right now, so I'd rather actually just lose my Healing Totem and one of these guys, I guess. As much as I hate to do it, doesn't really matter which one. And then we can deal 10 damage to our opponent. And then he'll have to lose this on my Spirit Wolf there, assuming that's what he does. But it just dealt 10 damage, got him down to 8 health, which is pretty good. I just need to do 8 more damage. Damn it. Echoing Ooze could be troublesome, especially if he's got Mark of the Wild or some way to buff that up. Please don't have some way to buff that up. Oh, you son of a bitch. Alright, it might be time for the Death Lord. Death Lord with Flame Tongue Totem will be a pretty potent combination. So. And he's going to use his hero ability. And are you going to trade your Fugan for my taunt? It looks like you are. Alrighty. It's annoying because I won't be able to get by his taunts on this turn. I'll be able to kill one of them, plus the Death Lord will be able to take out the other one. Don't kill my Flame Tongue Totem. Please. What else do you have for 4 mana? Nothing. You're just... You have nothing. Alright. That's fantastic. So we will hex this. Take it out with this guy. Unfortunately, we're going to have to trade this for that. Karen still gets to live, but I had to kill it. I'm going to play the Death Lord, making it a 4-8 with taunt, and get us another taunt that's a 0-2, so we get the Stoneclaw. I'm good with that. Now, I have a pretty strong board, and my opponent concedes. Good. So that works. And with that, I'm going to put a break in this video. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please show your support. Leave a like. It helps me out a bunch. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Get updates whenever I post new stuff. And as always, my name's Leducium. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.